Well, hello. It is, let's see, it's St. Patrick's Day, and I think the river in Chicago will turn green, but we certainly aren't going to be out celebrating St. Patty's Day. We are in the middle of a significant shutdown in our country, and it's a tough, unprecedented time for us, isn't it? Just crazy. But I am hopeful today that we can move away from some of the things that are going on with COVID-19 and hunker down and think about our businesses for just a little while. Had a message before around COVID-19. The situation changes daily. But for today, I want to talk a little bit about how do you set your feet on solid ground in running a business, and talk about some of the things that I felt like I should have taken more seriously. So business development is really at the core of starting and growing your business. And so business development is it's a comprehensive business strategy that's going to include things that you enjoy. Like a lot of us enjoy education and learning and listening to our podcasts and attending courses. Yes, that's valuable. That's part of it. But your business and your business will also include things that you can see, like your logos and your colors and your website, and if you have a palm flyer or things like that. And that helps the business to feel more real. But the business really isn't real unless we do something that we often overlook, and that is the business development strategy itself. You've probably heard it called biz dev. My name is Cheryl Scanlon, and I have been a coach now for 15 years, 10,000 hours. For those of you who have listened to a few of these videos, you might be tired of hearing that. But the reality was I did not have a business development strategy when I began. I had a financial strategy. I never wanted to go into debt, which is part of that business development strategy. But there were other aspects of the business that I had to get clearer on and get stronger on in order for me to move forward with the business and not keep hitting this, what I call ceiling of complexity with myself. So today I want to provide you with 5 simple, they're important, and they're not easy steps. This is not going to be, check, 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 check. They're going to require a little bit of thought. But if you do this, it's going to make such a big difference in how your business can grow and sustain during seasons like this. You know, I was on the phone with a client today. He's not a coach. He has a consulting business. And we had put together a plan at the beginning of this year. And interestingly enough, we're starting to talk about some things that he might want to change or revisit because of everything going on with COVID and the ability, not having the ability to be with his clients on site. But we went back to the plan. And interestingly enough, as we went back to the plan, he was able to see that very little about what he's doing he needs to change. There's a slight tweaking in his approach, but he is going to stick to the plan that he developed. And this is the power of having that business strategy. It helps you to keep on track. It helps you from getting sidetracked. It helps you, as we've talked about before, protect you from clamoring and grabbing at things that you don't really need to grab at. It helps you to say yes, and it helps you to say no. It is literally the backbone of your business. And without that, you're going to do things and say things and commit to things that in the long run, you're going to say, why did I do that? Now, some of that comes with building a business and just learning about the business. But if you have something material that you can go back to that can sort of play that bad cop for you and anchor you, it can really strengthen your business. So the first piece of this is to recognize the need for a business development strategy. It's something that is easily overlooked. You don't even have a business. You're not even sure what you're going to do. But there are some basic elements to this that need to be in there. And as a matter of fact, American Express, if you just Google business development strategy and American Express, right on your screen, you'll probably get an American Express like top 10 things that need to be part of that business development strategy in terms of, what market you want to be in, who your competition is, your pricing strategy, so on and so forth. That's all your messaging. That's all part of it. So the second aspect of this. First is to develop a business development strategy. And the second is to recognize that once you have this piece of paper, it's not a one and done. It is something that you will revisit over and over and over again. I revisit my smaller version of my business development strategy every quarter. But then the bigger picture, which is that 3, 5, 10-year plan, I revisit now about once a year. And it is remarkable how, yes, a lot of the things that we wanted to accomplish we have, but it also shows me, ooh, we've started to veer off track here, or I got a little too aggressive over here and I lost sight of some things that I wanted to move forward with in another area of the business. So putting a plan is sort of like planting a garden. You know, when you plant a garden, you have to put in into your schedule a plan for weeding and fertilizing and tending to it. And it's the same with your business development strategy. Having time where you sit down and look at it is super, super important. The third aspect of this, and boy, this took me a long time to learn, and I hope that you can learn this faster than I can, is to trust your instincts. You know, if you have a sense that you're a strong speaker, well, then why are you spending all this time in front of a blog trying to write all this blog stuff down when you are much more energized and much more effective when you're in front of people? So that would just be one aspect of it. If you have a sense that, you know, this seems like too sweet of a deal, too good of a deal, these people that are constantly knocking our doors, wanting our money to give us these wonderful opportunities, then don't do it. In the very least, reach out to someone else and ask them, hey, have you heard about this? Have you done this before? And then, not just to get your opinions from people, but look at your business development strategy and ask yourself, does this line up with where I'm wanting to take the business and how I'm wanting to get there? So learning how to trust your instincts, it can be scary, but the reality is, whose other instincts can you listen to and trust? You can't trust mine. I'm not running your business. I don't know what your strengths are. I don't know what you're passionate about. I don't know your marketplace that you're in, right? So even if you listen to podcasts or you get involved in something like Coach's Edge, ultimately, I am not the authority, or anyone else is the authority of your business. God is the authority, and he's going to speak to you, and you have to begin to train that ear of yours to trust that, and your stomach to tolerate some of the risks that are associated with trusting your instincts. Fourth, this is a big one. Developing a coaching practice is hard work. So as you're building, if you don't have the time or the inclination to build a business strategy, don't even bother getting into the business. Seriously, I mean this. Many years ago, about 12 years ago, I started saying that the coaching industry was a lot like the real estate profession. Very easy entry with a lot of people selling 1 to 2 homes per year. And we have a lot of coaches coming into the industry, easy entry with 1 to 5 clients. That's not why you got into this business. So I'm going to share a story and make this hard for you so that you get to a new level of resilience and commitment with what you're saying you want to do. I used to coach a color guard, which are the flags, with a marching band, a local marching band private school. And the fine arts director I happened to be in the band room when he was having some musical rehearsals. And they sat down and had a little sort of fireside chat kind of thing. And during that, he asked how many of the students wanted to get onto and do Broadway, or off Broadway or on Broadway. And most of the students raised their hand. You know, they were starstruck. They love being on the stage. They love being in that place of expressing those deep emotions and having the audience respond to that. That is quite a power trip. And I'd never heard him do this before, but he said, well, I'm going to tell you a story. And everybody's all excited because this was Mr. Green, and Mr. Green was always so good at telling stories. And so I could tell they were settling in on the band room floor ready for the story. And he was sharing about a man that he knew that had made it all the way to Broadway. And he had the most amazing voice. He was very athletic. He knew how to dance. And he was very good at memorizing his lines, which is a big part of when you're going to be in these types of environments. He had a big range for his voice as well. He had it figured out. And he auditioned for a musical. I can't remember which one now. This was many years ago. And the kids are at the edge of their seat waiting to hear the fairy tale ending to the story. And he says, and you know what happened? He didn't get the role. And the students were like, why are you telling us this story? This doesn't make any sense. And then he added to this and he said, and you know why he didn't get the role? And they're like, why? He said, because he didn't fit the costume. And of course, these play groups, they work on really tight budgets. And you could see, I mean, I was sitting at my desk working on some stuff, probably writing routine or something. And I looked over and you could see the fallen faces on so many of these kids. And so he's like, I tell you this, not because I don't want you to follow your dream, but I want you to understand that it is going to be hard work. And if you are not willing to face the rejection, to deal with the hard work, to knock on those doors, don't do this. Now, you kind of know where I'm going with this, don't you? As I said a couple minutes ago, this is like the coaching profession is like the real estate profession, easy entry, with a lot of people selling 1 to 5 homes, with a lot of coaches having 1 to 5 clients. This is going to be hard work for you. And for those of you who are in the business now, and maybe you're 3 to 5 years into it and you're at that 1 to 5 client mark, don't give up, but recognize this is going to be hard work. And maybe part of the reason why you haven't been able to push through that is because you had an expectation that this would be easier than it really is. It's not going to be easy. Even with God on our side, it's not easy. Just go read all the scriptures in the Old Testament about all the battles that they fought, and go read in the New Testament about all the battles we fight within ourselves. Even if we are called to coaching, it does not mean that it's going to be a lazy river ride under a partially blocked sun. It's going to be tough. And so the third thing in there, or the fourth thing that I want you to know about this is, I knew it was going to be tough because I'd run a business before, but even with that knowledge, I did not realize how challenging this would be. And so I had other revenue streams to help compensate for the lack of coaching. And then over time, as my coaching practice built, I started to let go of some of these other revenue streams. And eventually, my revenue was coming completely from my coaching practice. So be aware that it's going to be tough work. You're going to have to be shrewd and be willing to work through these times. So if you're willing to do that, this is good news. And this is the fifth thing I want you to know. The last point is, in the end, it's up to you. It's not up to your mentor coach. It's not up to the school that you went to. It's not up to your community. For example, if you were to be involved with Coach's Edge, it's not up to your Coach's Edge community. It's up to you. There were times I would hang up the phone with my mentor coach, who many of you have heard about her. I absolutely love her to pieces. But I would hang up the phone from her, my conversation with her, and I'd feel a little empty. I'd feel a little loss of words, or, well, that wasn't really what I wanted or what I was expecting. And there would be a sense of disappointment, because in that moment, I was looking for her to do the work that only I could do. I was looking for her to give me the answers that I could only provide to myself. She could give me guidance, but ultimately it had to come to me. And as I would stop blame shifting, being uncomfortable and trying to throw it off and put it on someone else, which is just going to stall the business even more. When I was able to start taking ownership of that and stand up a little taller, remember what I said at the very beginning, is your business strategy is the backbone of your business. So if you're finding yourself hunched over like this, or you're finding yourself wavering and kind of flying in the wind, get back to that business strategy and figure out what is not in place, because that is what will help to drive the business. As I said, not the mentor coaching, not any program, not any class, not any podcast. Okay. So I hope, and Brittany, thank you for posting down those 5 points as I move through those. I hope that our time together has been a bit of a reprieve from everything going on in the world, but also maybe a little bit of a nudge or a little bit of a kick to say, okay, let's take this time that we have right now and reconvene with me, myself, and I, and look at the business and say, how do I move the business to a place where I'm working a little smarter, where I'm less reactive, where I know why I'm saying yes to something and why I'm saying no to something based on this business strategy. And if you do want some assistance in this, this is part of the reason why we developed Coach's Edge. Coach's Edge is an applied learning community that meets virtually. We have a wonderful time together. And I can't be that person who's going to be the cure-all panacea for you. But we are in an environment where we encourage one another, we challenge one another, we help us to keep our focus. And if you've been on the Coach's Edge landing page over at mentorcoachinsights.com, you will see that 100% of our member community that responded to our recent survey said that they were feeling more confident as coaches. And I can't remember if it was 60 or 80% have a better sense of the direction of their business. See, that's the business development strategy piece. Confidence typically has to come first, and that's followed by better planning. And as we plan better, we're able to sustain the business during crazy times like we're in right now. And it is a crazy time. So thank you for joining me today. The membership will close soon. We still have a few seats available. We're not wanting to open this up to the whole world. We're trying to build our community slowly and very methodically, because we want to be able to engage and support the people that we're working with. And next month, we're going to run our next success factor assessment. And so we take this assessment that takes probably about an hour to an hour and a half. And during that time, you get to start to see where your business is. It's an assessment of your business, not of you. It's of your business. And then after that, we all meet and we start to put together what's the next best step for each of us in our businesses. I'd hate for you to miss that opportunity. If you're serious about moving forward with your business, no matter the season or the time, I hope that you'll consider joining us. It is a lovely community, and we're there to support one another and also challenge one another as we continue to grow these businesses to the glory and honor of Jesus Christ. Thanks for being with me today.